Welcome to Behind the Scenes, the podcast where we delve into the diverse perspectives of the brilliant minds at Entura, one of the world's most experienced power and water consulting firms. This podcast comes to you today from Nipaluna, Hobart, the traditional country of the Moina people of the Southeast Nation. We acknowledge the Tasmanian Aboriginal people and their ongoing connection to culture and country, and the traditional owners of other lands people are joining from today. We pay our respects to their elders, past and present, and extend that respect to any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people listening today. Join us as we explore the stories of talented individuals shaping a sustainable future, discover who they are, uncover the intricacies of their role, and explore what drives their passion. Get ready for an insider's view into the heartbeat of Entura and the journey toward a more sustainable tomorrow. My guest today is Dave Gerke. Dave is a specialist engineer with over 30 years' experience leading large multidisciplinary teams on international and national engineering projects. Dave is also the latest recipient of the illustrious Engineer of the Year Award for Tasmania. Dave, welcome.
Thank you very much.
First of all, who are you?
Me, Dave Gerke, grew up in South Australia. Father was a civil engineer, mother was a teacher librarian. So I suppose I always had sort of a scientific sort of background to himself, and that sort of played out during going to school and high school and stuff like that. It was I suppose I was an engineer in the making. They say you've got the knack. I think unfortunately I might have caught it early.
Okay, and did you always have that in your mind that you'd do engineering, given Dad was an engineer?
No, that didn't sort of push me to do that, because sometimes you think following your father's footsteps, but I thought no, I'll do my own stuff. But it got to the end of high school, and I thought, well, what do I want to do? As I said, I had the scientific sort of maths, background. I wanted a job that was, half in the office, half out of the office, and engineering just sort of made sense at the time, and I'm glad I pursued it, because I've had lots and lots of opportunities. So.
And that was a decision you made at the end of high school? Yeah,
probably the last year or two. Back when studying then, had to do the five normal ones where maths, physics, chem, English. So it basically was a prerequisite to get you into a lot of engineering courses. So it didn't sort of limit my my choices if I had to. Yeah.
And did you go to a local uni, or did you spread your wings?
No, he was grew up in Adelaide, so on the western suburbs, out near sort of Glenelg, Henley Beach, and then went to Adelaide Uni in the centre of Adelaide. So I was lucky. I think I just scraped into there, which was good, and thoroughly enjoyed it, my time there. So still keep in touch with a lot of the guys I studied with, which is good camaraderie, I suppose, as you go through, because it's a pretty hard course. We had 30-odd contact hours when we were going through, so.
So as you're going through the degree, did you choose civil straight up, or was there a kind of a base level course and then you choose civil as you go through?
Normally the first sort of year or two, there's a lot of subjects are pretty well much the same. The foundation building stones for the engineering. Always had a bent for probably the civil sort of side of it. Still to this day, sometimes don't understand some of the electrical parts of it, but I think I made a good choice, and there's lots of scope for different areas to go into. So I was really left my mind open as to what area I'd like to sort of pursue. I didn't say, no, I want to be a structural engineer, and that was it. I sort of fell a little bit into the hydro sort of water side of it. When I finished uni, I had the choice of a couple of jobs, and one was with Hydro Tasmania, obviously now Entura, the consulting arm. And the other one was with the Road Transport Authority in South Australia, which my father worked for. So, I always thought, I'd like to go out and sort of try my own stuff. So that's what actually brought me down here to Tassie in 1991. Yeah.
Fantastic. So let's unpack what that experience was like. So you've made the decision to leave your home state.
Yep.
Come down to Tassie, which in 1991 was probably only a portion cool as it is now. How was the how did the family react to that?
I think they were happy that I was going to a job that I was looking forward to. Sad, probably leaving the nest and going away, so far away. But overall, they were pretty happy for me, and it was a new, exciting, I suppose, experience that I was getting myself into. There's also a couple of other people who I studied with actually got a job with hydro as well, because it was the last major intake of graduates. I think there was probably 30 or so in the sort of engineering sort of side of it. So it was at the back end of the Anthony scheme, so they were still basically in a construction mode and had the Labor Day force. Some quite sort of exciting times that were happening. So lots of things going on.
And so what drew you then to, apart from having the two options and wanting to carve your own path, was there anything in particular that drew you to hydro?
Well, for me, it was probably the variety, because you not only had sort of design, you also had the potential to go into construction as well. Being a water manager as well, could get into that side of it. Really for me, I suppose it was variety. I quite enjoy the doing sort of different things. They had a good graduate rotation program as well, which is another sort of highlight that some of the other companies don't have.
So what does that look like, that rotation program? What does that look like?
Back then it was probably not as specialised as probably it is at the moment, but it was more design and construction, and then within there you had different departments of which you could go into. So like design would have been structural, there was water resource, there was modelling, and again I had a crack at all of those, and sort of whittled down the areas that I sort of would like to sort of concentrate on after I did the sort of 3 years of the base sort of graduate work that normally happens. So.
And so that's when you decided to specialise in one area?
I sort of pride myself and call myself sometimes a specialist generalist. So again, that's about my sort of variety, and, learning a little bit about a lot is good. And I think it, especially now as, going through my career, I'm more into the project management side of, the multidiscipline projects. So, you really need to know little bits about whether it be civil, electrical, mechanical, environmental, a whole range of sort of fields. And I think enough to be sort of dangerous and ask the right questions. You don't know what you don't know at the end of the day, so the more knowledge that you get in, I think it helps definitely, it has helped my career for sure.
Yep. How did you then transfer from hydro into Entura?
Always sort of, because in, I think, 93, the construction arm finished, and that was the last of the big schemes that are building. So, went into the design side of it, and I suppose I like the get a job, get in, finish it, get on to the next one, and that I suppose fitted quite well with Entura. In their sort of consultancy sort of side of it, as opposed to the long-term operation and sort of maintenance. I did like the project work, and that had definitely an appeal for me. So I think it sort of morphed into that. And as the work went on, Entura, as Hydro Tasmania Consulting, then branched out and was doing a bit more sort of local and national projects. So that's where I saw an opportunity for myself, and I actually went back and was in the Adelaide office and helped build the engineering sort of capabilities and projects over there. So again, that's getting some marketing in there as well. So it all sort of snowballs into one as you keep going along and grabbing the knowledge and the contacts out there in the industry as well.
Yeah, great. And that's given you the opportunity to work on, as you say, some great national and international projects. So over the many years working in the national and international projects, what are some of the most memorable and the best projects that you've worked on?
I would say the South African project. So what we were doing was developing a mini hydro over there. The South African government had a renewables program where they were wanting to get so many megawatts over a certain amount of time. So what they were doing is they were offering a certain price for electricity, and obviously the projects had to be financially viable. So yeah, what we did was go over there and look at some projects, and what we had to do was then develop it from the start, go through the planning phase, the design, get it to financial viability, then submit the bid, and then it obviously went through to the final design and then construction. So to me, from a personal perspective, very fulfilling because I was involved from the start to finish. So I was involved in not only discussions with banks and the contractors, but directing the sort of design, also the legality sort of side of it. So doing that remotely from South Africa, as well as dealing with our project teams in Tasmania and India as well. So it was a great way, I suppose, to bring all of Entura along on the sort of journey where it was such a remote sort of project from where we were normally dealing with the sort of local and national. So I suppose one of the benefits that we also saw from a sustainable project was that, as part of this renewable sort of plan that the government put in, it had certain things that needed to be incorporated, which was employment of the local Indigenous communities. So again, that played a large part, and you had to show that this was actually being undertaken, and as well as any sort of profits which came out of the project was then shared amongst the local communities, because in this particular area it was in the sort of northwest of South Africa, very poor sort of region. So it was putting money into developing sort of programs to upskill the local people, providing them with social amenities. So again, to me, it ticked a lot of boxes, especially being over there and seeing the sort of poverty in the place that was being done. So it was, to me, a sustainable and ethical project to be involved in.
Yeah, and what was the feel from the local community when you were there? What did it mean to them?
I think it was good from my, I suppose, views of what was there, because there was grants along the way. You could actually see there was a lot of the local people being used during the construction by the contractors as well. And they had training programs in place for, might have been driving the construction equipment or any other sort of amenities. I think there was people coming in with the food as well. So it was, to me, I saw it as a good community project. Yeah.
So we mentioned the Battery of the Nation projects.
Yep.
In a nutshell, what are the Battery of the Nation projects, and what role does Entura play in those?
I suppose Entura's role is the design technical support for the overall sort of project that's going on. But I suppose overall Battery of the Nation is, I suppose, with the Marinus link potentially coming online, Tasmania has a great opportunity to now export more power over to the mainland. Mm-hmm. So as part of that is, I suppose, repurposing some of our projects and new projects to get more capacity online. So with Battery of the Nation, as I was previously saying, we're basically replacing the old Tarraleah canals, which have been around for 80, 90 years. Potential risk of failure, ageing assets. So there's an ongoing operational maintenance costs associated with that. So with the new scheme, that will be replacing that with a specifically sort of designed carriage of the water from Lake King William down to a new power station at Tarraleah, which obviously will be designed in accordance with all the new standards and sustainability guidelines and the likes. It's really about securing, I suppose, more renewables into the future, and with a lot of the gas and coal fire stations shutting down, is to filling that gap in the capacity. So
looking at that ad that was on TV recently about the building of the original hydro schemes and the people that were involved in those and what that meant to those people at that time, I get this kind of sense that we're back in that phase, that we're back in that kind of almost once in a generation phase of building these amazing projects. Do you think that plays into how we operate as professionals?
I think so. I think it gives a clear sort of vision and path going forward, that we really are invested in renewables, sustainable sort of projects, such that we're moving forward to make it happen. Whereas I suppose you could say for a long time Hydro Tasmania was in an operation and maintenance sort of phase, and now we're actually back into construction. So as in my earlier sort of discussion, life's come full circle for myself in that 30-odd years to see it all happen again. So maybe there might be another Dave Gerke coming along and just starting and going into that cycle again, and maybe it might be a 30-year Hydro Tasmania Entura cycle of life. Yeah.
Well, that kind of leads nicely into another point that I wanted to pick up on, which was about the mentoring. And I understand you take a lot of time mentoring the younger people coming through, as well as passing on your skills nationally and internationally. What does that mean to you, that ability to be able to pass on those skills?
Well, I quite like it. I like working with the young grads, and just recently being out and working on the Battery of the Nation, Lake King William stuff. We've got 2 or 3 grads who have sort of started. So to me, it's just the day-to-day interaction and being able to say, look, you might not like what you're doing at the moment, but give everything a shot, because to me it's they should be gathering as much information and then looking to say, I don't like that, I like that. Okay, these are the areas that I'll try to go down. I think that gives you a good rounding for your career sort of going forward. There's always plenty of time later on to specialise. Have a crack at everything going forward when you first start.
More specialist generalists.
That's it. Yeah, go.
And what are you working on at the moment?
Involved in the Battery of the Nation. So I'm actually the site project manager for Lake King William upgrade. So basically with that project, the old Tarraleah scheme, the canals there, 80, 90 years old, lots of maintenance, upkeep, a higher risk of failure. So looking to divert the water straight from Lake King William, down to where the Tarraleah power station is at the moment. So that'll involve new tunnels, new intakes, and a new power station. Mm-hmm. So I'm involved in digging the big hole to get the water into the intake. Looking after the sort of contract and the supers rep out there. So as I've said to a couple of people, it's sort of life's come full circle after 30 years where I was sort of involved in construction and now back in construction. So it's been quite a journey during that time.
And if you were to think about sustainability and the sustainable future, what does that mean to you?
To me, it's the renewable side of it. I was involved in wind farms earlier on in the career. I think it was one of the biggest ones, I think, in Australia at the time, at Woolnorth, then involved in successive ones there. So to me, it's reducing that reliance, I suppose, on fossil fuels and making sure that you're getting a quality product. And it's in line with, obviously, regulatory, environmental and obviously technical sort of sides of it as well. But, yeah, I've been involved a little bit on the solar, obviously the hydropower as well. So I think I've seen it come a long way, and, yeah, it's definitely heading in the right direction from a personal point of view, and I'm actually quite proud of working on a lot of those sort of schemes going forward, to know that it's using water, it's using sun, it's using wind, a renewable sort of resource, and not polluting byproducts of whether it be coal or whatever. So
yeah, and having been involved in renewables from the beginning of your career, have you noticed that there's a shift in mindset particularly for engineers who actually want to get involved in those sorts of projects? They're seeking those opportunities out.
Yeah, I think so, because, you can just see the universities are now offering pure renewable energy degrees and stuff like that. So that's probably a push from the industry to get those people into that sort of mindset and be a bit more sort of specialised, which I think for the industry is great. Because they're focused on that, and you're getting a lot of younger, newer people coming in who have that social awareness for the environment. And I think engineering to me is the art of compromise. You've got the best technical solution, you might have the best social solution, you might have the best environmental solution, but there's got to be a meld of how to balance, those aspects to get a good quality sort of product out there that's going to be beneficial in the long run.
Yep. So what's next for you? What does the next 5-10 years look like for Dave Gerke?
If I go 10-year horizons, I reckon I'd be sitting on a beach, taking up surfing again and whatever. I've got another 5 years or so to go before I can retire. I think from my journey, I've done a lot of different, varied projects. I think I'm, looking to do the ones that, push my buttons and I'm really going to enjoy. And probably at this stage, I do like the international sort of side of it, because, we're making some good progress out there with the people. For some of the projects that we've got to, make it more sustainable. One of the things I did later, probably in the last 5 or 6 years, was being an engineer. I always found that I'm not really sort of that good at public speaking, so I thought I'll push myself. And Entura's got a training arm, so I actually was a presenter. I can't talk still. With some dam safety courses in hydropower. So again, that's helped with all my varied experience to be able to sort of take that and, been to India and Sri Lanka and the Philippines and Southeast Asia, where, some of their practices are probably not up to the high levels that we've got it here. So it's passing on that experience, whether it be, graduates mentoring, whether it be locally, nationally or internationally. So, yeah. Yeah,
fantastic. Okay, thank you, Dave. Thank you for your insights and your wonderful stories. Here's looking forward to a great 5 years on the Battery in the Nation projects, and then beyond that, learning to surf again.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for the opportunity, and here's to a renewable future.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us for the Entura Behind the Scenes podcast. Please keep an eye out for the next episode. Till then, thank you. Thank you for joining us on this insightful journey behind the scenes at Entura. We hope you've gained valuable insights into the incredible individuals driving sustainable innovation. If you've enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Stay tuned for more inspiring conversations as we continue to explore the people and stories shaping our sustainable future. Connect with us on LinkedIn and Facebook and find out more about the work we do at entura.com.au. Until next time, this is Mark signing off from Entura's Behind the Scenes, where sustainability meets inspiration.